Today, I would like to introduce you to our new training vehicle. It took a long time, but now, just before Christmas, we got it. It's like an early Christmas present. Finally arrived in our automotive training room. This training vehicle has been specially prepared. We will see this later when we are inside the vehicle, so that it fits perfectly into the Lucas-Nuelle concept, and we can seamlessly transition from our training systems. Speaking of something new, here we see, you may have already seen it in the YouTube videos, our new car train, but there will be a lot more about it throughout this year. But now you have a brief chance to take a look and get a feel for it. It is a great system. Stay tuned here for more information. But let's get back to the vehicle. Everything here has been truly modified. That on one hand, we can have a great view inside the vehicle. On the other hand, we also have direct measurement points available, so that during lessons or quickly access the various systems in everyday training. Of course, everything comes with the original circuit diagrams. All the designations we see here are thus directly based on the original documents, in this case from Mercedes. But of course, we not only have the various measurement points here, but we also have numerous fault switches. We can see them here now. This can be locked and can be opened. And then we can simply activate the faults with a simple switch. So that means indeed we switch the switch. We either have on-off, or there are also faults here where we have 3 different levels. And then it can be measured wonderfully here. Very important what we have back here. We have a separate fault area here for the insulation resistance. This means that various faults can be introduced into the high voltage system. With regard to an insulation fault. And of course we also have it marked in orange here. Then the corresponding measurement points for the high voltage system. Of course, everything is secured. And then we can approach the measuring points with any measuring devices and conduct our measurements. These can, of course, be all kinds of measuring devices that are approved for high voltage vehicles, but also our Unitrain, which we will see later, what is installed in the vehicle. Then, of course, we also have access to the complete charging infrastructure. This means we have our CCS system here with a Type 2 plug or the DC connection. Here we see the cuts on the side, allowing a clear view into the interior of the vehicle. Here as a little teaser for the interior, we see our Unitrain, the student-teacher measuring station, which I will explain in a moment. And additional fault switches, measurement points, and the connection to the Unitrain interface. The heart of the whole system is, of course, our high voltage system. We don't see the battery right now, because, as is the case with modern electric vehicles, lithium-ion batteries are involved. The entire battery is located in the underbody. We can take a look underneath here. I'll just give it a try so that you have seen it as well. But ultimately there isn't much to see there, because it is of course completely shielded. However, there is much more to see here in the engine compartment, where we of course no longer have an engine. At first glance, it almost looks like a combustion engine. But if you look more closely, we see that this is a wonderful high-voltage system with a lot of cooling elements. But we see our orange colors everywhere, the orange connectors, which are, of course, the perfect indication that we are dealing with a high-voltage system here. Again, various measurement points here based on the Mercedes circuit diagram. We have deliberately provided an external measurement point here for potential equalization. The housing of the HV battery is conveniently lifted from below so that we can access it cleanly without much trouble. And of course, we can also shut down the HV system in the original way as it should be, by using the low voltage service connector here. It is known from various other vehicles as well. May it be pulled out here. You don't need gloves for this either because it is not part of the high voltage system. So, I take a little distance from the vehicle again, so that you can view it in its entirety again, or you can take a look at the other systems in the training room here. This is wonderfully possible through our video, and if you want more information about this vehicle, feel free to let us know, and write it in the comments. So, now we are inside our new training vehicle. I hope you like it. But it's less about these beautiful elements that we see here now, but more about the whole surrounding context. What we have installed to make this electric vehicle a fully fledged training vehicle. And it fits perfectly into our Lucas-Nuelle concept. And especially when we take a look at the passenger seat here, we can see that a lot has changed. The framework is still there, so to speak, But now we are able to take a detailed look into the seat and the whole bunch of electronic systems which are integrated. And everything is actually still there, like seat heating and all the other stuff which is used in modern vehicle seats. Here have our well-known Unitrain with a special module for the vehicle. Here, different measuring points and of course our student-teacher measuring stations. What can we do with it? The student-teacher measuring stations are simply there for that purpose, so that we can ultimately lead signals out of the vehicle and make them available to the classroom or a larger group of trainees or learners. So, I believe it is understandable that not several people will be sitting in this car and conducting measurements, and if you have a larger group, you can now simply feed the signals through this module, and they are then led out via an Ethernet connector and can be easily processed outside in the classroom to be analyzed or measured directly on similar devices as well. Then we have our Unitrain here, and it is coupled with this module, and thus we now have a direct connection between the PC with our e-learning course and the vehicle. We can also use all measuring instruments here of the Unitrain, whether it's the oscilloscope, voltmeter, ammeter, everything is possible, everything is available. And all the signals that we now provide in the vehicle can be fed into this Unitrain and then measured directly on the PC. So, we remain completely in the digital world and within our Lucas-Nuelle concept, meaning the learning software or e-learning software that we also use elsewhere. With all our training systems like the car train and so on, exactly those are also used here, so that we have a seamless transition to the real vehicle from our training system. What else do we see here? This is indeed upside down. But here we see the input for the various Unitrain systems here, meaning for the measuring elements, both in the engine compartment and in the trunk. We have already seen them in the exterior view. The signals are fed in here, so that they are ultimately connected with the Unitrain. And of course, we also have a lot of measuring points, which are based on the original wiring diagram, in this case of the Mercedes, and where the trainees can simply take over the various signals from actuators, sensors, control units, voltages and so on, and then measure and analyze them accurately with the help of the wiring diagram. Otherwise, the vehicle is fully functional. This means all functions like the HV system, air conditioning and everything else, infotainment system, everything works 100% and can be operated. And thus, we not only have a fully functional training vehicle, but also a vehicle that has been specially prepared to fit optimally into our Lucas-Nuelle concept.